According to the World Bank, the agricultural sector has been a key driver of poverty reduction in the past decade. However, the sector remains vulnerable to the agroclimatic shocks such as drought that can push households back into poverty, as evidenced last year when the country experienced one of its worst droughts that was caused by insufficient rainfall that led to food shortage and skyrocketing prices of basic food commodities such as maize flour, milk and sugar that saw households having to increase their household budgets due to the high prices. Last year, the country's annual inflation rate accelerated to its highest level in almost 5 years as the biting drought then compounded price pressures.
The number of poor households, for example, in the industry sector is much lower than the number of poor households in the agricultural sector. And therefore, like this slight disconnect between GDP growth in industry translating into consumption growth for these households is not necessarily a bad message. It just means that they are more protected against fluctuation in GDP growth.
Kenya has gradually registered growth in domestic product for the past decade, above 5%. However, the report also indicates that the growth has not been translated to the household level, with many Kenyans still jobless and living below the poverty line.
Kenya really needs to continue to focus on poverty reduction, making sure that growth is inclusive, meaning that the poor profit from growth, as well as enacting pro-poor policies.
With little fiscal space to finance the resource-thirsty priority areas, the World Bank sees the public sector playing an important role of creating a conducive environment to catalyze private sector resources towards the achievement of the big four of food security, affordable housing, and most importantly, the manufacturing sector, which, according to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, is supposed to provide 1.3 million jobs.
Paying out the services provided by private sector, that has also been a big challenge, especially at the counties, where the services and goods provided at the counties, but they have not been paid, and that has affected the private sector.
The World Bank is expected to release the Kenya Poverty Gender Assessment Report, which will provide a more detailed analysis of poverty characteristics and trends in Kenya. The bank projects the GDP will grow by 5.5% in 2018, which is within range of what the International Monetary Fund has projected. By 2020, the GDP is projected to grow by 6.1%, driven by domestic demand. Masimilanoi, K24 Business.